It is 7:58 in the morning here in Thailand. We are about to head out the door. We have not eaten breakfast even yet, but we've got to get going here. Missionaries, welcome back to MissionViewfinder. Today we want to share with you some things about health for missionaries in the mission field and what some of the challenges are with that, and also some of the ways that just God has led us to look at that. And that is why we're actually going in to get some blood work done this morning, which is why we haven't eaten breakfast yet. So we'll see how this goes. We are here and we are about to give up some of our blood that we have paid money to give up. How are you feeling about this, Mr. Hill?
I just want to get it done so I can eat.
Joey, did we survive?
Well, the fact that we're talking would seem to indicate that.
Yeah, so we did make it out of there alive, and we are hungry, so we will tell you why we're getting this blood work done, but we're gonna get some breakfast first.
Oh, and by the way, if you didn't know this about me already, well, you're about to find out. I have a hard time with blood and needles and that sort of thing. And it's exponentially worse when I have low blood sugar, when I haven't eaten in a way too long of a time. Well, ironically, one of the blood tests was glucose. And of course you have to be fasting, so no breakfast, and yeah, I passed out.
So the kind of blood tests we were getting, for those of you who are curious, because I know some of you are, was really just things to know better what kind of health our bodies are in. So one of the biggest ones for us was vitamin D. We have a friend that's a naturopathic doctor who wanted us to get our levels tested, and you know, if we're low, like, we want to be able to work even harder to get that up. But just really things to know, some other tests like to know better where our bodies are at, what areas we might not be doing so well in, so that we can know how better to strengthen our bodies and do what we need to stay well.
So talking about health, let's just start with each person individually, and then we'll go from there. We all have a responsibility to God to take care of our bodies. There's a verse in 1 Corinthians, actually hang on a second, I'm going to get my Bible. First Corinthians 6, verse 19 and 20, and I'm sure you've heard this verse, but here it is. What? Know ye not that your body is the temple of the Holy Ghost, which is in you, which ye have of God, and ye are not your own? For ye are bought with a price. Therefore glorify God in your body and in your spirit, which are God's. So here we see very clearly that we have a responsibility to God to take care of our bodies. Holy Spirit wants to dwell in us, making us a temple. We need to take care of that and honor God by taking care of our health. But being missionaries, or even just in ministry full time or whatever, like we all have, regardless of what we are doing for work or whatever, we all have that responsibility to God. But beyond that, if we're full time, especially overseas, we have an even greater responsibility, because God is wanting to use us all the time to just be an instrument of His. And if our health is being a hindrance in that, or not a good witness, then that hinders what God can do, and it isn't a right representation of the Christian life, you might say. If I'm doing all of the things that are really, really bad for my health, but I'm holding myself up as an example or trying to be an example to others of how to live a healthy life, that just doesn't work.
As much as health is important, and as much as that is an even greater responsibility for us as foreign missionaries, there are also unique challenges with being in foreign countries that can make it actually a lot harder and mean that you have to pay even more attention to it. For example, living in a climate that's a lot different, whether a lot colder or a lot hotter, it presents things that your body's not used to, so that definitely adds challenges and stress. Also, just being in a new culture, though, adds stress to your life that you may not even be conscious of, but it is wearing. So you have to be even more vigilant, partly just because of the surroundings you're in and the situation you're in. But the other thing that can be interesting in this is that sometimes some of us, especially as young people, I think, like myself, it's hard to really just grasp how important and how fragile health is. So, I know for myself, as well as for a friend of mine, we kind of, as, maybe in our teenage years, maybe very early 20s, we didn't really recognize exactly how important it was, and it was kind of like we just pushed ourselves. I know we both really pushed ourselves a lot. And I remember the year I was 18, 19-ish, I was cutting my nights short every single night. And I did it for months on end, and I was just busy nonstop all day. And by the time the next school year rolled around, I was I don't even know how I did that. I was just I couldn't do it the next school year. And the fact that I had worn myself down enough just during that one school year that the very next school year I was a lot more tired. I was I shouldn't have worn myself out that much. I'm too young to be wearing out like that. I was pushing too hard. But it wasn't really until I was away from the place where I'd been working as a teacher that these things kind of started catching up with me, and I realized I had these different health problems that now I was needing to deal with. I was really kind of burned out. And I was now I've got to deal with this. And it would have been much better if I had taken better care of my health and not pushed myself so hard and not brought those problems on myself to have to solve them later. So it can be a real challenge to recognize that, but believe me, believe those of us that have been here, it's precious. Health is a very precious thing, and if you lose it, you'll feel it really keenly. So what do we do, though? What are some really basic things that we can do to stay healthy?
Just for a couple really, really practical things that we can do to help keep our health good. One thing that I try to be really, really intentional and consistent with is exercise. God didn't create our bodies to just sit around, and a lot of the time I'm sitting around. And that's just the nature of the work that I'm doing with editing and everything. But exercise is something that I have to be really intentional about in making sure it happens, because it's easy to not do it. But if I don't exercise, I literally feel like I'm dying. If I do exercise, I feel like I'm alive, and it's worth it to me to feel like I'm alive. Plus, my brain works better, my circulation is better, everything is better, pretty much. Another thing is nutrition and what you put in your bodies. They say you are what you eat. So if you want to be junk, then eat junk food. But if you want to be healthy, then I recommend eating the diet that God gave to Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, or is getting as close to that as possible. Fruits, nuts, seeds, and grains is what God ordained in the garden, and vegetables came later. But those are the best things for your body. That's what God created for optimal health. And we've actually been learning a lot more about that recently, and it's just amazing that when we do, hello birdies, when we do eat the best things that we possibly can, we will have the best health that we possibly can. And an ant or something on my foot. Water is something else that is super important, super simple, but really good for your health, because in order for our bodies to work right, they need to have that hydration. Especially over here in Asia, but it's the same in Africa or anywhere else that's really hot. You gotta really watch it, because you can get dehydrated pretty quick because you don't realize how much you're sweating. So yeah, water and electrolytes is really important.
So I totally agree with all of the things that Jonathan shared about, and there's just 2 or 3 more here that I know for myself have been a real personal struggle a lot of times to stick with and to really put the effort into that I need to. One of those being trust in God, like really just letting God carry my burdens, and then also getting enough sleep. It can be a real struggle, you know, when there's a lot of things you want to get done and a lot of things you feel you need to get done, or maybe you have to get done. It can be a real struggle to get enough sleep, to get the rest that you need. And another one is just getting enough sunlight. You know, vitamin D is like so important for our health, and getting out in the sunlight, the sunshine, is actually really, really necessary for us. But I realized, like, of all these different basic things that I do for my health, getting out in the sunshine is something that I can really miss out on, like not do, because I go out in the morning to exercise, like maybe before breakfast, and then I'm like, you know, maybe outside somewhere in the evening when it's cooler, but I'll be inside working all day sometimes, and it's like, I'm not getting out in the sunshine, I'm not getting the vitamin D that I need, or just the benefits of being in the sunlight. So yeah, there are some real good benefits to each of these different things, and I would encourage you to give them each a try and really just focus on these basic practical things that can make a huge difference in our health and help to give us the strength that we need to do God's work, remembering that He's the one that gives us strength, but He asks us to cooperate with Him to keep our bodies healthy and strong.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope this was a blessing to you. If you were blessed, give us a thumbs up and drop a comment below. Tell us what you think. If there's anything else that comes to your mind that should be talked about in this topic. And if you want to support our channel, if you haven't subscribe. And also, we're going to put down here somewhere a playlist that we think you'll enjoy that's on a similar topic as this. So we'll see you next time. God bless.